regards to the topic, right? I have always understood the sentiment of that. When you have consciously been by yourself so long, it is very hard to break bad habits that you're not familiar with in order to be with another person. You stop learning conflict resolution. You stop learning how to be selfless. You stop learning how to actually understand other people's needs, other people's wants. Now, I will say, I'm hearing a lot of pushback about like getting yourself together before you get into a relationship. And let me just say this: before us, there were a group of people who did not know what a theory was. There were a group of people who had no idea what anything was but a Bible and the church in their community. They had many problems. They had many issues. They were not the best people. They were very abusive. They abused substances and they had a lot of issues and they had a lot of things that they dealt with, including monetarily. Those people still found a way to be together. So I do not believe in this whole idea of you need to know yourself before you get in a relationship. I don't believe in that. I feel like majority of that comes with experience. And I feel like this whole you need to heal before you get into a relationship. I think that healing is a journey. It's not something that you do and then you stop doing it and you feel like, oh, I'm fixed. Let me go be with somebody. That's not how life works, but that's me personally. That's my outlook on it. So in this regard, what happens when men and women never commit? We get selfless people. We get people who don't understand community. We get people who have no moral regard for other people. They're very short-sighted. They only see what they need. And you see it all the time when you see the men who were like the Uncle Jesse's, like Full House, or you see the men who were like the Bachelor type men that they would have integrated into the 90s shows or whatever the case may be. They just live life on the edge. It's always one person after another every time you see them. And then they have that longingness for family. But at the end of the day, they missed their mark. And then there was something lagging. And they weren't able to actually fully invest themselves into their family. They were never able to really perpetuate themselves into their family and take on the role that they should have been having because they only knew how to follow itself. They only knew how to deal with self. And that becomes problematic because you lack a lot of those Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, yeah, I just think that that's what happens when men and women don't commit.
Very insightful. Sweeney, what happens when men and women never commit? You on mute, bro.
First of all, I'm all right, y'all.
You had everybody up here fucking worried about
say,
you.
like, I don't know
Freaking
what
worried
to
about
expect.
you. I was like, he lost somebody. I hope he's
I thought
okay.
he was
I'm
about to lose
worried
his
about
shit, like,
you.
this show and everybody go there. I thought you were
Oh,
about
they
to
up here sending
lose
love
your
to
shit.
Sweeney. I'm like, something done happened to this man.
So I'll sit over here chilling, man.
I take my sympathy right on back. I'm ready for you. Go ahead.
Hey, he got to do something.
He gonna say something.
What happens
He's tired
when
of
men
his
and women,
shirts being so ugly.
what happens when men and women don't commit? Well, never commit. Exactly what we got today. The current period that we in right now, Mr. Lego kind of said it perfectly. A bunch of people operating out of fear and refusing to commit. So what you get? Broken families, broken homes, broken people, broke people. You know what I mean? I mean, it's as simple as that. We got exactly what we get. And I hate to bring it up, but unprotected people. Take that how you want it. That's what you get when people never commit. Simple as that.
Tyra. Haven't seen you in a while, but I know why.
Thank you. And you
Glad
pronounced
you're
my
doing
name
well.
perfectly. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it took me about a year, but I was gonna get it. I learned slow, but I learned.
I hear that. So, well, the definition of commitment is the quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. That's literally the definition. And what I like is dedication is a synonym of commitment. And as if you are in sports, you need to be committed to that, because if not, then you deal with the consequences. You don't participate in any Olympic games, or you don't classify, or things like that. So if you are don't commit in a career or whatever you're doing, any activity, you put it on, you deal with the consequences. Simple as that. You don't commit, deal with the consequences. That simple.
Damn, that was short and sweet. I love it. My
I
man
love
Israel,
that.
welcome back.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Listen, so what happens when you have a bunch of people who don't commit, men and women who don't commit? Well, it's simple. You have people that hurt people. Like they said, hurt people hurt people. So you have people that are using people, going around using people and going around and using people. And so what's happening is then you have a bunch of people that are traumatized trying to get in relationships, and then they trauma bond, and then they further exacerbate the problem. So the issue and the problem when people don't commit is, like a lot of people are alluding to, you don't get to community, you don't get to families, and you don't get to a place of elevation. It really is the decline of a society. When people don't commit in the masses, it's the decline of a society and the decline of a civilization.
Indeed. Y'all all pretty much said it. I think we're looking at the dystopia, not the utopia, the dystopia of what happens when people don't commit. But I do got a follow-up question, and anybody can answer. Follow-up question. Who's more afraid of commitment? Modern men or modern women?
Modern women.
Oh,
Modern
That
women.
I don't
Please
think women
explain.
are afraid of
I've
commitment.
heard-
I think women are getting to the point where they're afraid of men. They're afraid of men. They're afraid they're not going to find the man of their dreams that's going to stand up and do the right thing and be there and all that. They're afraid they're not going to find that anymore. It's not that they're afraid of commitment. Men are afraid of commitment.
No, they're afraid. You just said if you're afraid of men, you're going to be afraid to commit to one. I'm confused.
So
No.
just agree with you.
men are
You
the
can
ones
commit.
that approach
If she
women.
found her a nice lady, I'm sure she could commit. But she's determined to be with men. So that's why she's not committed.
What? Whoa, wait. What in
Okay.
the name
What
of
I
Princess
said.
Pastor P are we
Women
talking
are
about
the
here? What
ones
in the
that
name
are
of
afraid
Pastor
to
P
commit.
are we talking about here? What's
What are
happening?
you talking
I'm
about?
just saying it's not that she can't commit. It's that she will not commit to these men that
If
are
she gets with a
showing
woman,
her
she's
they're gonna laugh if a woman gets hit in the face with a brick.
first of
Men are
all,
not
if she
committing. They're
gets
going-
with a woman,
Uh-oh, back to the brick.
her girlfriend
What?
is
I'm
going to
just
hit her in the face
saying
with a
that's
brick.
very unattractive.
Manny say, Island girl, I
I
just
knew I
want you
was
to
gonna
think
bring
about
a
this.
brick, baby.
In most lesbian relationships, the woman she's with gets hit in the head with a brick by the other
By
woman.
her, by the other
What are
woman.
you talking about?
Yeah,
Thank you,
They're
Mr.
fighting.
Lego.
female
In
on female
most
relationships statistically have the most abuse.
the person
Have
that
the
hits her is
most
her
abuse.
man. If
And the
somebody's
most
hitting,
jealousy too. And
that
the
means
most jealousy
nothing.
too.
If
All right,
somebody's
one
gonna
mic,
hit
one mic,
somebody,
one mic.
it doesn't matter their sexuality, their orientation.
You just
Before
brought that
we-
up. You just
MLG,
brought
let
that up.
Paris get in there. And then
Before
Cider,
we
you
get
have
away
something to
from
say?
the actual question, I would say to me, it would have to be women. And I say that because a lot of the conversation is women fear mongering themselves out of being in a relationship, right? So using terminology like, I need to heal before I go be with another man, or why would I be with a man who can't do X, Y, and Z? Already knocking him out the box, already trying to find other ways or other nuances to try to get her out of the relationship, or saying things like, where are you going to lead me to, right? Or it's always some form of repulsion when it comes to women nowadays, because you never see men like not actively still dating regardless of what they go through, or not even dating. You just never see men without women. Like, you never see men at some degree without women, but it's always women trying to find ways of saying, before I get with another man, I'm not going through this, I'm not dealing with this, I'm not taking it. And I completely understand that. I think that that's perfectly okay, but I do feel like it comes from a deep place of fear to say, I've been there, I've done that, I've been this type of woman, I don't want to go through that anymore. So instead of them actually working to absolve themselves of those situations, they completely stop the relationship entirely.